Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Crime Centric. This being a show where I talk about crime dramas that I watch. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of Blind Spot. A lot of interesting things went down in this episode. We finally found out more about the missing ear dude. Everyone's just calling Van Gogh. His real name is Eric. Basically, everything connected him. It's all kind of a long stem of like blackmail, as well as all connected to something much more dastardly and dangerous. So it seems like Stewart, in fact, was murdered by Hearst. Didn't see that coming, because even when the whole group found out, I was like, wow, she actually did it herself. That took me by surprise, because Hearst seemed like she'd be the type of person that like handles that, like, oh, send someone else to do it. In fact thought Van Gogh would be the one to do it. It's like, no, she killed Stewart herself and had Van Gogh, Eric, but I'd rather kind of call him Van Gogh. I think it's cooler. But had Van Gogh clean up the whole thing to make it look like a robbery and everything like that. So basically, and the sad thing is, Van Gogh isn't like some super like villain bad guy. Like, oh, he's not like a boarder. Which I guess sympathetically you could be like, he's kind of like a boarder, because Borden started that whole situation. He joined Sandstorm and everything for like love reasons. Same thing for Van Gogh. Everything he's doing for his he's doing it for his husband Julian, because his husband is sick and there's a special cancer treatment. Basically, Hearst got him on it. Instead of taking a placebo, he's definitely getting the medication. And so now Eric owes Hearst, and it was like, at first it wasn't that big of a deal, but now it's like hurting people, roughing up, even hurting their family, their friends, their even their children. So it's like, ugh. So, because it turns out like everything Hearst has done, even from getting that job she's got, has all been a laid out plan, making sure that Van Gogh takes out all the other people that could have taken her job as the director of the FBI, and then like giving the job she gave to Reed. The whole point was to find out all the different people that she could like, push around with information of like, oh, use this against them. In Reed's case, I guess she felt like, well, he's already close to the team. Plus he has a whole drug situation, which she dug up, which she keeps throwing in his face. It's like, she felt like she could manipulate him there. So it's just like, it's not like Hearst just got to the job and then she was bad. Like I said, it's kind of very similar to Borden, she was just kind of in it from the very beginning. We still don't know what this is all about, because she can't be working with Roman if Roman wants to expose her. But it's like, for what? Because the lady that she's blackmailing in this episode to help with Van Gogh's situation, Paul Mary, apparently she put all her money into a virus that didn't turn into an outbreak. She basically lost crap ton of money in it. So it was a situation of like, oh, I'm gonna release the virus and then I'll come out as a hero, because it's like, oh, see what happened? I tried to tell you that this was going to happen. You didn't believe me. And lo and behold, but look who has the only cure and put her back on top and everything. Her as well as this other doctor. Which is just crazy. It's not even like, oh, I'm trying to be a hero. It's like, no, I'm trying to make back a profit. Like, it's kind of like to show everyone up while also making a crap ton of money back that because she basically lost it all. So the question is, did Hearst know about that, or did Hearst just think like, oh no, this is just a simple lady making money off of switching people on the placebo list to the actual trial list, and people on the trial list to actually the placebo list, that whole situation. So it's hard to say, because like I said, we don't know how deep her whole thing goes. Is she just... actually, we know how deep it goes, to the point, all the stuff that Eric's done for her. Interestingly enough, he was actually a U.S. Marshal, which I love that whole line about Allie getting the file for them and everything. And she's like, yeah, I can't believe you guys dragging me down with you. And Patterson's like, we don't know who to trust. She's like, no, I got the file. I just want you all accurately... all feeling as guilty for dragging me down with you. And Patterson's like, oh wow, that's okay, that's a little mean, but sure, okay. I was like, making them all... I love that she guilt tripped him into that. It's like, yeah, we're doing this for a good reason, but you're still possibly going to end up getting me and, Kurt arrested, so our child, Bethany, will grow up without a parent or has to visit us in jail. So that was impressively done. I love that. But it's like, we still don't know where she stands in this whole situation. And what's interesting too is like, how does Roman must have access to the computers or something? Because it's like, how does he know when to know that they're doing this? Like, the fact is they're looking into Hearst. How do they know? How does he know that? How does he know now to send clues their ways, like giving Patterson the sequence they needed to look into the molecules to find out what they needed to find out? And it's so sad too, like in the grand scheme of things, like the only reason why things played out the way they did now is because Stewart went to Hearst instead of Patterson because he knew Patterson didn't really like him. But also on top of that, it's like Patterson would want results. She wouldn't want just guessing and just things you don't know for sure. It's like, you got to know before I go to Patterson. But he went to Hearst because he probably didn't think he could go to anyone else. I was thinking like, oh, he's texting Patterson, but it's like Hearst shows up. I'm like, you texted her, of course. And the reason is too, because he knew because he had seen Hearst with Van Gogh before, and that's why he's calling her to warn her. It's like, oh, it might be someone else with a missing ear, but don't want to. You gotta be safe. And it's like it's twisted what she said too. It's like, yo, Eric, I'm looking out for you. I killed Stewart because he had your name. I protected you. Now you protect me. It's like that's like the crazy thing about Hearst, and I'm really liking this. Like no other person has really gone to the level she has. She's very psychological with this because she had that little brunch moment with Reed and Tasha, and starts like, oh man, Tasha, you guys, you oh man, how did you meet? And it was kind of interesting learning how they met. That they actually didn't like each other from the beginning. That they started on the same day, were both competitive toward each other. It's crazy to believe that they eventually became the best friends that they did, as well as boyfriend and girlfriend, like they eventually did too, but we see where that is. Nevertheless, but and then she starts getting into Zapata's head. It's like, oh man, you happen to leave just around the time that Reed gets a new position. It's like, maybe you go into the CIA was kind of a way of, you still keeping up that competition. Maybe you're a little competitive, and you have Tasha kind of smiling a little bit like she's really playing them psychological games. She's definitely been playing them for free because she's like, oh, you shouldn't trust Zapata. She's part of the CIA. And I'm like, even, Reed's got to be thinking it back in his mind because I'm looking like, really? You're the last person that should be talking about trust, you liar, you manipulator. What? Knowing what he knows now, it's like, oh, you can see, you can think in the back of his mouth, in his mind, it's like, there's nothing but bull crap coming out your mouth now. But she's like, oh, everyone with the CIA is a serpent. It's like, they're snakes. And the fact of the matter is, I don't want a snake like that on my team because I just don't trust her. And you shouldn't either, because a friend like that, someone who's so close to you that you had this type of relationship, she could use your whole drug thing against you. Well, you mean the same drug thing that you've literally used against him twice now? That you used it against him last episode, which pushed him to go, yep, we need to investigate into it, and now you're using it again to be like, oh, Tasha might use it against you, which legitimately there's a part of my brain that's like, I think there might be some truth to that. I'm hoping it doesn't turn into that, but it might be into a situation of like, it might be, I don't know, because there's that moment that Tasha and Reed had where they were hiding from that security guard when they were down there by the computers, and you see them kind of close facing and everything. It's like, we know that their respective situations, like their different job offers, is what led to them breaking up. But the question is, what happened first? Did Reed get his position first, or did Tasha, or was there some other reason why she left? It's that awkward situation where Tasha tries to pretend like she's okay. It's like, oh, Reed, go out with all these other girls. They're in that phase where it's like, oh, we're friends, but then Reed almost kissed her, and she's like, whoa. Oh, did he almost kiss her, or did he actually kiss her? I think he actually kissed her. But it's like, whoa, what are you doing? And it's like, that was an awkward thing. And every time, like, he'd bring around a girl, it's like, oh my gosh, she'd be super, like, into, like, I'm surprised Reed hasn't called that out yet, but I guess he doesn't want to be too presumptuous. But every time, like, Tasha tries to overcompensate by being too friendly, it's like, oh, you want to get her a food processor? Really? You should, oh my God. It's like, no, you're like, oh my God, Megan is like my best friend. You might as well put a ring on it before I do. It's like, because she's overcompensating. So, and I think that moment, especially because later on at the end of the episode, you see her looking at a picture of them together and she's smiling. So there's that. But the fact is, that whole call from Keaton is just a little, maybe it's just to kind of fit the scene, but I feel like there was more to that. Maybe it's going to be something later on down the line. We cut back to it. It's like, I don't know. I think Tasha's playing her own game too, because let's not forget that the tattoos are connected to her too, because at the premiere, she brought up the Keaton about it, and it's like, oh, should we worry about it? It's like, nah, as long as they don't find a tattoo. So obviously Hearst has been steering certain investigations away for whatever reason, whatever she's up to, whatever she's connected to, she's been steering certain cases away from him, like the whole Loey situation. But nevertheless, in this particular situation, it's like maybe she's doing the same thing. Once again, this is all about bringing this team apart and breaking them, and that's definitely going to get complicated because obviously Tasha potentially has her feelings for Reed resurging, plus this whole CIA thing. We still don't 100% know what's up with that. Like, I'm just waiting for the other ball to drop in that particular situation. Also, we potentially learned that Kurt apparently doesn't like rats because they were in there and he was like, and they're like, oh, come over and look at this, Kurt. And he's like, no, I'm good. And they're both looking like, Ali and Jane are like, wait, what? And Jane's kind of half laughing. Kurt, are you afraid of rats? He's like, no, but, obviously they are diseased and, dangerous. So it's like, that's so interesting because the cool, funny thing is neither one of them knew that about him. And to be fair, I don't know if that's something that would come up. But still, I mean, they've never been in a situation where they really had to worry about that, I guess. But still, it's like neither Allie nor Jane knew that. I thought that was so interesting. Maybe that's tied to something else. And almost forgot about it. You had, I mean, it's going to tie into other things I'm going to end up talking about. But when it comes to Kurt, that dream he had where like the baby was in the bag, like the question is, what did he do that was so bad to Jane's daughter? And immediately seeing that bag and everything, it started clicking in my head. I'm surprised I never jumped to this conclusion before. What if Kurt did to Jane's daughter what was done to Jane and Roman? Her memories wiped. What if the same serum was put in for whatever reason? We don't know. I don't know what the circumstances would be that would cause that. But what if that's it? And what if that breaks Kurt's heart? Because the fact of the matter is, Jane had, I don't know if it'd be worse or better, because the fact is, obviously her daughter is not that old. Her daughter's only 18. That's still 18 years of your life you'd forget. Jane's in her 30s, so like that's 30 years of her life that only fragments come back in. So would that be more of a travesty, since that's all of your life? You haven't really done much, but the little bit of your life that you've lived you don't remember? Or would it be worse to have lived for a while and basically it still amounts to the same thing, but would it be better because her daughter's younger? I don't know. It's hard to say in that situation. So I'm curious. Like, I'm thinking that's a possibility. I think it'd be a very interesting possibility because it would make the most sense, because I think that would hurt Jane the most, because it's like, I mean, I guess Jane would also understand because she did the same thing for Roman, but whatever the circumstances that happened, it might have been different for her daughter, you know? I'm still kind of leaning towards her. I don't think her daughter's dead. It's either going to be a situation where it meant like tracking down Jane and Kurt had to make a sacrifice and he sacrificed her daughter. Like I said, I feel like the reason why he would do that is because he didn't believe it, or maybe he thought she was lying or something. Maybe it's manipulation, like not realizing, like maybe Roman like set it up to make it seem like, oh, that's not really Jane's daughter, when in fact it was Jane's daughter, but Kurt didn't know it at the time. But it's not until these recent things that it's like, oh crap, that really was her, you know? There's so many different possibilities and different directions that could all go. So, because there's another part of me that's like, maybe she's rotting in some like Berlin prison right now. The reason why we haven't seen hide in her hair. But like I said, maybe she got mixed up in something and Kurt feels like he got her killed. And it's like, if Jane finds out, it's going to break her, because, and it's like, oh, maybe Jane's going to blame me for her death. And it's just, that's what, because ultimately the selfish side of him is like, I mean, it's not just him, any person would be too. It's like, oh, that this is the person I care about. I can't stand the thought of that person hating me. So there's that mentality, but also it might be just something so devastating that it ends up just breaking Jane, because that's something that, you know, Kurt can connect with Eric or Van Gogh about, because Van Gogh lied to Julian all this time. Because it was all for his sake, sure, but it's also something Allie brings up. It's like, no, you can't, it's not just about protecting that person, because it's like, yeah, like not everyone needs protecting. People can handle a lot more than you give them credit for. But the fact, because all you're doing is you're not protecting them, you're lying to them, you're being dishonest to them. So it leaves you in that situation of like, you know, it's like, I mean, because it turns into that thing of like, well, is Kurt really protecting her, or is he just protecting himself because he's afraid of Jane leaving him after finding out the truth? I mean, the fact of the matter is, after Roman learned the truth, it's not like he handled it very well. The truth of the matter is that Jane's the one that did this to him. Like, the moment he found that out, that lying had taken place, he exploded and turned against him. It's kind of why we're in the sad turn of events that we are right now. So Kurt should kind of learn from that. But at the same time, Van Gogh was like, I don't regret it for one bit. If me doing what I did meant that he stayed alive, because he knew that Julian, the moment Julian found out the truth, he'd stop taking the trial, which he was going to, which Van Gogh was like, no, don't do that. You keep doing the trial, you don't even have to see me. So it seems like he's still going through with it. It's like, but you know, you stopping and sacrificing your life isn't going to change all the bad stuff that I've done. So it doesn't seem like Van Gogh's actually killed anyone. He's roughed people up, threatened people, sure, but I don't think he's ever killed anyone. The closest thing to that was probably covering up Stuart's murder, you know? So, I mean, obviously he still has a conscience, because like it kept him awake. Even Julian was like, yeah, he doesn't sleep well. It's just got him on. This new job's got him, well, not new job, because he thinks he's still working with the U.S. Marshals. It's like this job has got him on edge and stuff like that. So it's a situation that obviously like Kurt sees a lot of his own situation. And so at the end of the day, what will he do? Who knows? Better make a choice soon, because Jane, this whole situation, seeing Bethany and Kurt together, made her think about her own daughter. And so now she's calling a dude that she knew in the past, in that time skip, time named Clem and asking him to look into her daughter for her, which is like, we didn't end up on the best terms, so there's no guarantee he'll actually do it. But the fact of the matter is, it's like, if anyone can do it, it's you, and Kurt hasn't told her, so would it be better for her to find somebody? No, it would definitely be better if Kurt told her. I mean, by what degree, who knows, but maybe even 1% is better than nothing at all, you know, because it's like, if she finds out other ways, it's going to be an even harder blow. If you take the time to sit down and talk to her, I don't know, it's a complicated situation, whatever it is. We still don't know exactly what it is anyway, so, but the real kick in the teeth is like, Eric gets shot. I don't think Kurt said that he was actually dead, but he just got shot. But it's like calling Reed, it's like, yo, Hearst knows. And then like Reed's on the phone while he's in the office and she's like, oh, so, and talking to Reed. I'm like, dude, that's such a good spot to leave that episode on. And it's like, oh my God. Like the fact that she put that out, does that mean she knows? Or does she think like, oh, she has to test and see if Reed is actually in on the know or not? It's going to be interesting to see how that all goes. Once again, she's very psychological. So for a while, that whole brunch thing was probably meant to be a test. She wanted to see how Reed reacted so she can determine whether or not to, go forward, you know, with her, you know, suspicions or not, which is interesting because I brought it up earlier. Obviously, like, there's the whole, like, oh, stuff she could use against Reed. There's still that whole Freddy situation that could get thrown in his face, which reminds me, I almost let it slip my mind. Reed has that situation. It's like, I'm glad Zapata brought it up. It's like, she's like, so why'd you meet with West if it wasn't connected to, Hearst, and why are we meeting with him? Apparently it's to help a friend. He's like, it's not my story to tell, so he didn't want to go too much into it. I don't know if that's something Freddy related or what. I feel like if it was Freddy related, he kind of would win in details about it. But it's like, whatever it is, he can't tell Tasha. But it seems like whatever it is, it's something Hearst might have known about, especially because she was like, yo, Zapata all up in your business about this West situation. So would she be a problem? So it's like, shouldn't that be more of a concern that Hearst knows about that? Is that more ammunition for her to use against you? I don't know. I mean, it makes you wonder, they were so careful, so how did she find out? They made sure, not unless she's got plants inside of U.S. Marshals as well. That's the only way I can think about that, you know? Because the only people who knew about this situation are Allie and the U.S. Marshals she let inform. They tried to keep this off the books for the FBI. They did flash their badges, so maybe, like the, Palmieri, maybe her, the dude that she was working with, maybe he called into the FBI and Hearst heard about it that way. Who knows? Things are just getting very hairy all across the board in this particular situation. Once again, this agency literally cannot catch a damn break. It's like every time you turn around, somebody's corrupt. It's not like Mayfair wasn't 100% innocent. She had her own part to play and everything. You had Jane, then you had Borden. There was that other dude I don't remember. Was that season 1 or is that season 2? There was Carter. There's like, I mean, to be fair, it's dealing with high level intelligence, like government agency stuff. So it's like, obviously there's going to be, a lot of spy related stuff and just corruption and moles and stuff like that. It's just like every season there's a new person to be like, it's like, how do you trust anyone in your line of work? It's like everyone that comes in is like, like, it makes you wonder, like, from the very beginning, since they added that character in the last season of Hearst, had they already started planning, like, oh yeah, the moment, like, next season come around, we're definitely, like, oh yeah, she's actually a bad guy. She's been, like, did they have that plan, or was that something they're like, and season 3, she's actually a bad guy? I'm curious about that, especially because they went out of their way to show her bubbly personality of, like, being, like, not bubbly wouldn't be, more, like, fun is what I really mean. I feel like bubbly can be a little insulting. It could be like, oh, she's an airhead or something. But like, the fact is that like Rita's like, oh yeah, you're wearing this jersey. When you think about that, that was literally this season. That was literally a couple episodes ago about her joking about, oh, spending the entire day wearing that jersey. Oh man, like our opposing teams, oh man. And it's like, she's a super bad guy that killed Stewart. It's crazy to think about that. And it's like, holy crap, that character did like a complete 180. I mean, to be fair, I guess that shows you how scary she is, that she's able to put up all that front, like, especially smile and work with everyone, working on Stewart's case, even though you knew you slit his throat yourself. It's like, gosh, lady, you're scary. Like I said, we would just have to wait to the next episode to see how this all transpires, but it's going to get crazy. I think I think I was reading that next week's episode is the fall finale, so you know they're going to leave off on a huge cliffhanger. I cannot wait to see what they have in store for us next episode. I want to guess it's going to be like Jane finding out at the very end of the episode about her daughter. Whatever that situation may be. Once again, we would just have to wait and see. But really, that's all I want to talk about in this episode. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.